Great. Okay. Let me find your seats first. Well, as long as it's you that's drawing your own place, then that's absolutely fine. So before I do introduction, in my household, the festive period started about mid-October. So I got presented with the first Christmas list, and I suspect that probably a few others have been presented with similar Christmas lists. I'm much more of a Scrooge. So my view is that the Christmas shopping process starts around about the 24th, about 1 o'clock. You know, the kind of focused approach is very much my way. But as I walked up through past Tonbridge Castle, all very Christmassy and looking very festive. So it's not quite December. We're kind of under starters orders. But a big welcome to what is the first festive event for the West Kent Partnership, West Kent Business, and also a big welcome to anyone that's joined us online and just looking forward to a really interesting session. So my name is Jeff Baxter. So I'm part of Smart Society. So you may well have had an engagement with one of our teams. So we are working with the West Kent Partnership to deliver West Kent Business. And the idea about West Kent Business is that it's about supporting small businesses within West Kent. And actually, what the real objective of it is to actually create a community of businesses that engage together, that meet together, and ultimately that trade together, and that we keep business within West Kent and we keep businesses trading together within West Kent. So that's a really good thing. Just a quick pointer about the actual West Kent Business service. So if you have had mentoring, then that is great, and we are delighted that you've been able to benefit from that. If you've not had mentoring, there is an opportunity for you to get access to a free business mentor that is funded through one of the 3 districts that's going to be supports the West Kent Business. So that's Tonbridge Wells, Tonbridge and Malling, and Sevenoaks. And it's an opportunity really to get probably what is the most valuable business support for any business, which is a chance to actually reflect on what you're doing. And generally, it's really focused around looking at growth. So something really important. In terms of what we're going to be doing tonight, so this is one of our networking events, and it's a chance for us to learn something, and we'll be introducing our speaker in a sec. It's also an opportunity for us to just have a chat and find a little bit about what you guys are looking for in terms of business support, but also in terms of what sort of events you'd like to see over the next 18 months, which is the programme, which we'll run through until 2025. Probably the most important event that we'd like you to be aware about is the West Kent Expo, which is happening in March of next year. So that is going to be a really big event within West Kent. So West Kent doesn't have its own business event, and so this is something that has been a key objective for the West Kent Partnership to deliver. We're expecting probably to see around about 300 to 400 business owners going there. There's an opportunity for you to exhibit. There's going to be an opportunity for chances to actually go to seminars, which will cover all sorts of subjects like things like AI, things like sustainability, things like focusing on how you can grow your business and bits and pieces like that. And it's going to be in Tonbridge. So it will be at the River Centre in Tonbridge on the 14th of March. So if you are interested in finding out about it or registering to get your tickets are already available. They're free of charge. Also, if you're interested in exhibiting, it's really reasonable to do that. It's a really great opportunity to get in front of a lot of local buyers. And so if you want to do that, then give us an email either at hello@westkentbusiness.com, and we'll let you know all the details about that. Okay, so we're going to kick off with a quick introduction from one of the members of the district team that actually oversees West Kent Business. So I would like to introduce to you Jeremy Whittaker, and he's going to talk to you a little bit about some of the local loan schemes that are available. Right, welcome, Jeremy.
Thank you very much, Jeff. Yep, good evening, everyone. I'm Jeremy Whittaker. I'm the Economic Regeneration Manager at Tonbridge Malling Borough Council. I was just going to steal a couple of minutes from Damien just to outline there's actually 5 grants and loan schemes that are currently running or will be running very soon. And I just wanted to give some headlines basically for each of them. And if any of them sound of interest, then I'm more than happy to have a conversation with you after the presentation. So the first one is the West Kent Rural Grant Scheme. As the name suggests, that's targeted at businesses in the rural area as well as community groups in the rural area. And that's capital grants of up to £25,000. And that can be for a range of different sort of projects. It could be sort of capital build projects, or it could be purchasing of equipment. Just a real range of criteria really for that project, but the essence is that the business or the community organisation is based in the rural area. A couple of other grant schemes that we've got coming up in January. So one is a shopfront improvement grant scheme, as the name suggests. It's around improving your shopfronts. That's grants of up to £5,000. We also have a green business grant scheme, which will be launching in January as well. That's also capital grants of up to £5,000. And that can be for, it could be for installation of PV. It could be any energy efficiency measures, heat source pumps, anything that reduces the carbon footprint for the business. And then the final 2 that I just wanted to mention are 0% loan schemes, which are administered by the county council. So there's one which is called the Kent and Medway Business Fund, and that's 0% loans of over 100,000. I think is it up to £500,000? Up to £600,000. Thank you, James. And then there's also a smaller 0% loan scheme called the Small Business Boost, which is up to £100,000. And both of those are geared towards encouraging business growth. So really, that's just a very quick whistle-stop tour of the grants and loans that are available or will be becoming available very shortly. So yes, as I said, if you want to talk to me about any of those afterwards, then I'll be around. So I'm more than glad to talk about them. Thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you very much indeed, Jeremy. So when I said that mentoring is the most popular type of business support, what I actually meant to say is that free money that Jeremy gives out is the most popular business support, and mentoring is number 2. So yes. So I'm going to now just move on, and so we're going to be talking. We're going to be moving on to our speaker, and so I just really wanted to do a very quick introduction to Damien. So Damien is one of our mentors. So he's a business mentor, and I think that this is really a good opportunity to start to think about planning for next year. So a lot of businesses, the festive period is a really busy time for them. For other businesses, actually, the festive period is a really quiet one, and actually for those businesses, this is a really good time to start planning for what next year is going to bring. So next year potentially is going to be a challenging year for a small business. We don't know what's going to be happening with the economy. We've got a really challenging macroeconomic situation that's happening out in the Middle East. We've got the ongoing situation in Ukraine, which is causing all sorts of challenges. And then there's also the Brexit word, which we shouldn't mention, which is also having impacts, and we're having to make changes associated with that. So what that means is that next year is going to be an exciting one. And so one of the ways of being able to manage that is actually is putting in place a plan, because if you put in place a plan, it might not necessarily be right, but at least you've thought through it and you've thought about it. So I'd like to hand over to Damien. Damien's going to do that. So just as another thing, recognise Damien is a mentor. You potentially will be able to book him. Also, if you want to go through your 2024 plan with Damien, then see him afterwards, and I'm sure he'll be able to talk to you about that. So, but without further ado, I'd like to hand over to Damien.
Thank you. Hi, hello everyone. So I'm Damien. So my company is Business Mechanix. just give you a little bit of history about me. So I used to be a teacher for about sort of 12 years. And then I became a business advisor for like the last 5 years. I know Jeremy well because we were helping loads of companies throughout COVID. That was fun. Baptism of fire, that was. Basically, I've helped hundreds of companies over that time, over the 5 years. And before that, I was coaching in an education role as well. So quite used to kind of coaching people and mentoring people. But it's been really a lot of fun sort of working with businesses. And one of the things I kind of came up with was to help them to create like proper action plans for each year, and to have like a yearly action plan so they can kind of keep track of their progress. So today is going to be very practical. So we're going to go very Blue Petery today. And in that vein, I have actually brought some paper and pens there. So if anyone, I think if you have got a notepad and a pen, you probably will need it. I think it's the teacher in me. I've just got to like bring it out. I'm sorry. If you do need a paper and pen, just feel free. Go and grab one there to help yourself for that. Hello to everyone online, by the way, as well. So without further ado, oh, I'll press that button. Right. So it's quite funny, but when you're coaching companies, you kind of have these like these eureka moments where you kind of it all kind of like comes together. Like, what's a really good practical thing for companies to do to actually move forward? And so you're actually benefiting from this is something I could probably charge quite heavily for, but I'm giving this to you for free. This is your Christmas present, okay? So this is going to help you to use basically as a starting point, looking at 2023 and how that was, and moving from there as in what you want 2024 to be like. And also, I like to kind of think of like companies as a bit like boats. So everyone's going to have different kinds of boats, large boats, small boats, but every boat, it needs maintenance, it needs staff, it has holes in the boat that need fixing. Where are we going? You know what I mean? What's the environment going to be like? Is it choppy waters? Is it nice? Where are we going with it? So all of those kind of things kind of fall into place. And so we do need to look at every area of your business, kind of what needs to be strengthened, if there are any holes that need shoring up. What do we need to do to make 2024 a successful year for you? And so these are the different stages we're going to go through today for the plan. So we're going to start with looking at your 2023 sales and how you kind of like move yourself then into 2024. Like what's your vision going to be for that? And it's actually a really good starting point to think about what your sales targets are going to be for next year. Then we're going to move on to marketing. So we're going to dig quite deeply into the marketing side of it. How are you going to achieve those sales, basically? The marketing's all about attracting people to you. And then everything else pretty much cascades from there. So there's kind of four main sort of pillars to a business. You've got your finance, your processes and operations, you've got your sales and marketing, and you've got leadership and staff. And they're the four kind of main pillars of a business for you to succeed and do well. And final bit is going to be just looking at the current situation, much as Jeff was talking about just then. Okay, so let's get this party started. So I like it's strange, but like when I coach businesses, it can be fun. It doesn't have to be serious and like boring. So we're going to draw a circle. So let's start. Everyone draw a circle. This is your pie chart for 2023. So I want you to maybe put on the outside of the circle kind of like roughly how much turnover you made in that time. It doesn't have to be exact. You can check your figures afterwards, so don't worry. But even if it's just a rough estimate, just give it a go. So put that on the outside of the circle, kind of roughly how much turnover you made. And what I want you to do is to think about how that splits in your business. So, for example, I've got a restaurant example here. 30% of their revenue might have been takeaways, 25% was day trade, 35% was evening trade, 10% was events when they went out and catered. And then we've got a consultant there. That could be more closely sort of linked to what you do. So it could be training courses was about 20%. online consultancy about 20%, one-to-one sort of meeting was about 40%. So it's kind of up to you how you divide your pie chart, but it's quite key that you do, because if you want to increase your sales, you've got to look at the different categories of sales. You can't just look at the whole thing, because you need different marketing approaches for different parts of your sales process. So you could decide to use, it could be products that you sell and you want to divide the pie chart that way, or it could be the type of client that you have. Yeah, that could be sort of private or public money, that kind of thing. It could be the service. If you've got maybe 3 or 4 services that you offer, you could divide it that way. Or it could even be the size of clients. So, okay, about 50% from 3 large clients, 50%, 20% from medium clients, 30% from small clients. So I'm just going to give you just a sort of about half a minute just to think about that, how you're going to sort of divide that. And again, if you want to pick my brains afterwards, feel free with that. That's fine. So just have a think about how you might sort of segment your sales on that. And you need to challenge me on this, because I've yet to come across a business where this doesn't work. So you might prove me wrong, but it seems to work with everyone. So. Hey, so you carry on thinking and sort of processing. I don't mind if you're writing while we still sort of carry on talking. So the next part of that is to think about 2024. So next year, do you want to sort of change the way that that's kind of split in your sales? So I've got the example here of a restaurant. Again, they're fed up with takeaways. Takeaways takes far too much time to do, so they're going to reduce that to 20% next year. They don't want to focus so much on that. That's another reason why we do this, because people want to shift who they're kind of focusing their marketing on. They might be fed up with a certain segment. You don't want to work with those people anymore. You want to work with these kind of people. So you need to kind of like take active steps to like change the focus on who you're serving. Okay. So takeaways, they've reduced by 10%. Day trades, probably a bit less important for them. So they're going down by 5% on that, because they want to increase their evening trade. They want to get more people in the evening. So they're going to go 40% there. Events, they love those because they get paid lump sum. They want to, and it's a bit of hassle, but they're getting a nice little return from it. So they're going to go up to 20% with that. So do that to start with. Think about how you're going to change your percentages for next year. And then also think about, are you going to increase how much you want to earn? So this restaurant example, let's say that we're making 300K in 2023, but they want to make 400K next year. We would make a note of that alongside that. Okay. So it is very scientific, but I've kind of found that it works. Business is a science. It does, it's obviously artistic too, but it does have scientific methods behind it. Okay, so if we look at, for example, the restaurant example, I've just explained how they're going to change their percentages. So that means the day trade is 20%, which would equal about 80K for that year. The evening trade would be about 160K. Events 80K, takeaways 80K. I've averaged that out per month, and there's another reason why you do that. So this is again part of the process. I think they'll get the slides afterwards, won't they? So they'll be able to like follow this. Yeah. So if you get lost at any point, you'll be able to come look and check at this again. That's fine. What I would say there though is obviously your months will change. If the restaurant, they might have busy Valentine's Day on February, so February's busy. They might have Christmas bookings, December's busy, summer's busy. So they're going to have different months where they might want to sort of change the structure of those sales. So they might want to just sway it more heavily. Let's say instead of 6.67K, they want to put 10K on some months, and they want to put 3K on slower months. Okay, and it's all about tracking. It's all about just analysing your figures. It's knowledge is power, is what basically it comes down to. Okay. Oh, so I'm going to sneak past these two because I put them in the wrong order really for this bit. But when we talk about sales, if we I've just spoken about the first point. If we go to the second point, if you just with all of my companies, so if I've got a year plan going with them, I will kind of meet with them monthly, and we'll have a chat with them about how they're doing with their sales each month. So that'd be almost like our starting point. It's like, how are we doing in that area? How are we doing in that area? And it's always different sort of segmentation for each different clients. But it's important you do that monthly. Okay, you can't like leave it like 4 months and then have a look at it. It's kind of just book in an hour with yourself or with your team, and just literally just sit down with a coffee, have a look at your figures, and have a sales meeting. Okay, it's really important that companies have sales meetings, because you need to kind of keep an eye on the figures and what's going on. Because what will happen is that, let's say you start to make this plan with me now. Let's say about 1 month in, 2 months in, you realise you've either overestimated or underestimated how much you want to make in each area. You can just adjust it, just change it. That's fine. It's not set in stone. You can adjust it in the first few months, make your targets more realistic. But you can also see by checking every month if something's not doing as well as you thought it would. And that's where you need to like do the marketing, change your marketing in order to like make that happen. So you've set your sales targets. We're now going to move on to marketing in those areas. Is everyone okay so far? You kind of following it? Yeah, makes sense in my head, but maybe I'm like flying somewhere. Right, so if I go back a couple. So yeah, this is like, so I'm teaching you my scientific method here for like how I help companies. So we've got our sales targets. So we need to then think like, how are we going to do our marketing strategy in order to achieve those sales? Okay, so let's take the restaurant example again. We know in the evening they want to increase their sales in that area. With every marketing, if you went to a marketing agency, they'd always sort of say to you, who's your ideal client? And what's your lead generation, etc. What I discovered was it's a bit like going into a clothes shop. With marketing, so especially digital marketing. If you go to a clothes shop, you can either choose individual items or you can buy an outfit. So you could go to a marketing agency and they give you the whole outfit, which would cost a lot more. Or you could go in and just you could go to the sales rack and get the SEO guy. Do you know what I mean? So it's what you need. You kind of like, you can actually create your own outfit with marketing depending on your budget. Okay, so I mean, I know there's people out there who do SEO for and ads for like £150 a month, which is a lot cheaper than paying £1,500 a month for an agency. But obviously you get a really good service with an agency. So if you've got the money, go for it. For the restaurant trade in the evening, we might think about sort of local people in a 30-mile radius, and obviously people that would have the income to be able to go. And these might be some of the strategies that we might use to actually reach those people and increase our trade in that area. So we're looking at updating the website if it hasn't been done, improving the SEO, social media, getting that sorted out. I think every company I come across, they always need to update all these areas, like refresh everything. You might have to think about paid ads, make improvements to your Facebook page. Especially if they're a local restaurant, they're going to want to reach locally, aren't they, with like Facebook and Instagram, etc. Maybe you want to put on a special evenings to attract people in, like your Valentine's Day, etc. Christmas events. So that again could be, you need to create a social calendar for your restaurant. When are you going to put the events on? That can work as well for marketing, by the way. So if you're going to do a lot of marketing through the year, just buy a calendar and sort of decide where you're going to actually do the different forms of marketing and marketing campaigns. Thinking about local newspapers, adverts, maybe just printing flyers to reach local people. So again, that's the restaurant example. I'm hoping you'll be able to, what I'm going to do is give you some more examples in a minute. And so I want you to kind of think, for each of your segments, you need to think differently. This is for the evening trade, but it's going to be won't be completely different, but it will be different from the events trade. So here the ideal client shifts a bit, and we're looking at local people again, but we're also looking at local businesses and organisations, maybe charities, etc. So again, you're going to need to do all of your digital marketing, but you might put on slightly different special evenings for this one. So it might be corporate usage. Can you get companies to book in for Christmas, things like that. Charities, you might want to put on a charity event that would kind of attract people. Networking is where maybe the shift is the most noticeable, because here is where you're probably going to have to pick the phone up and make friends with businesses and with charities and organisations that are local to you. So I think the more you, obviously here, the more you do that, the more you're going to create those contacts, especially if they're kind of like running those organisations, like they might be the head of a charity. You create those good relationships, and then you're able to like maybe do it on a yearly basis. So you're going to have to shift your thinking there to a more personal approach. And actually, I'm going to need to kind of talk to the heads of these companies and organisations, or the HR departments, or whoever is organising the events. So do you understand what I'm kind of getting at, though? You need to shift your thinking depending on what segment you're looking at. Okay. So I'm going to make it a little bit easy for you. I think I've got a pretty exhaustive list here of different forms of marketing. So I'm just going to give you a minute to sort of just have a think about the different segments you've got, and how you might sort of do marketing slightly differently for each one. So I will just have a minute's silence so I can breathe, and you can also then do your writing. So I hope you can read that. Can you just about make it out? Yeah. So there are going to be different methods of doing year plans, of doing targets, etc. I've just found that this works. I've yet to come across like a company that hasn't kind of worked well with, and I'm sure that I'll probably tweak this myself and make it, improve it, or change the way I do it slightly. I think that it's the detail that is the king here. I think sometimes we don't dig down deep enough to find out why the reasons are that things aren't working well. And it's avoiding like sticking your head in the sand and actually, what's going wrong and why is it going wrong. And sometimes you can't do anything about it, but maybe you can. So. Okay, feel free to pick my brains afterwards. That's fine, not a problem. Right, okay. So, as I said before, it's really important to check monthly how things are going, because it could be, for example, with the events, they're still not seeing enough happen. And you need to have another brainstorm about what do we need to do marketing-wise in order to make the events go higher. This cascades then into the other areas of business. So this will create the rest of your action plan from it. So you've got your targets, you've got your marketing strategy, you know kind of what you want to achieve, but these are like the technicalities that in your boat, you've got to sort of just make adjustments in order to make it smooth transition. So for example, we look at finance to start with. So just doing this sales analysis and these numbers analysis actually will help you financially, because you'll be more able to figure out cash flow forecasting. whether there's money coming in and out of your bank when it's going in and out. So it gets you used to figures. So it's really important from that front. You're becoming a more savvy business owner. But also it might be you're growing bigger. Maybe the restaurant, they're getting too big. We need an accountant. I can't be spending all my time doing this now. We're getting too big. I need a bookkeeper. I need to go digital accounts. I'm going to have to stop writing it in the books. I need to get digital. So also there's other kind of reasons why it's not just about sales. It could be you need to save some money. Okay, so you need to check your costs. Are you losing money there? Are your prices set at the right levels? Maybe you don't need to actually attract any more people. You just need to put your prices up. It's getting the right balance. What's the right thing there? Also, could you increase your average sale? So, if you're selling one product, is it possible you could be selling a different product to the same person, but you're just missing that opportunity? So there's lots of other little questions there you need to ask yourself to kind of think, what am I doing in order to financially reach my sales targets? Okay. Then you've also got staff and outsourcing. So it could be you as a leader. You need to you're getting burnt out. You might need to work on your work-life balance, getting the right structure in your week. Do you need to outsource? Maybe it's getting busy. Maybe I need someone to take the admin from me or the accounts from me, and then you can outsource. Working environment, is it suitable? Does it need to upgrade? If the restaurant's getting bigger, do we need to change it? Do we need to just make it more? Are we not what's the word? Building regulations and all that kind of thing. Right. Are your staff working to near capacity? So it could be your staff are underutilized, and you need to think about what can I give them to actually make up that lack. Is there good morale, well-being? So obviously there's no point in having a great ship if the staff mutiny. So you've got to make sure that they're happy and things are going well. Do we need training? Do the managers need training? Do the staff need training? So there's all these other questions around it that make sure the boat doesn't sink. Okay, it's not just about obviously making money. Right. And then we've got the other two pillars that I told you about. So sales marketing, there's other considerations there as well as the targets. Obviously, you've got your brand. You might need to rebrand if you're growing. You might need to, is your USP right? Is your marketing message right? Your tone right? You might need to get an agency to help you with that. What's your competitor doing? That we've done, digital. Sales pipelines though. Are your sales pipelines working? Is there a block? Have you got a flow chart of how your sales pipeline works? That customer journey, are you losing people at any point? Are they getting fed up waiting on your website because it's not loading quick enough? Do you know what I mean? It's stuff like that. Where's the customer journey with your clients? Do you have enough reviews? Client retention, do you keep a look on that? Client retention, repeat custom? Are you keeping an eye on those figures to sort of make sure? They always say, I think that it's a lot easier to retain a client than it is to actually get a new one. So if you can keep clients, it's much better than trying to sort of get new ones all the time. Finally, processes, operations. So all of the sort of the admin type side of it, this has to be in place. Has to be the structure needs to be there. So is your insurance all right? Health and safety training. So if the restaurant gets bigger, do they need more food standards training, etc.? HR, job descriptions, HR procedures, all okay? Have you got your staff appraisals? So many of my companies don't have staff appraisals regularly, so that's a key one. You need to know what your people are thinking. You can't just think that they're happy without having a meeting regularly. Good relationships with different bodies. Sorry, I forgot the admin. So yeah, make sure everything's tidy and filed. There's loads of software out there to actually help with things as well. Do you do admin? Don't you outsource it? Vicky does outsource admin. If anyone wants done. Okay. So there could be good relationships with relevant bodies. So councils, as I said, when I first started, Jeremy was one of my best buddies. Always people that you kind of get to know in the council structure who actually really help you in your company to move forward. We wouldn't know anything about the grants if it wasn't that connection really. So Yeah, yeah, it's really useful. Yeah, absolutely. Trade bodies, are you, don't forget the green, obviously. I think even though the government's like maybe gone a little bit slow on the green, we can't forget the green. We need to like keep pushing on the green. Accreditations, equipment, is your equipment up to date? Cyber security, storage, if you've got like a real product, is your storage okay, packaging okay, manufacturing okay, processes, transport, delivery, supply relationships, a lot there in there, sorry. But you can go over these slides again, obviously, at some point, so that's no problem. So again, on your plan, what you need to do is look at those 4 areas and think, do I need to improve? Is there anything there I need to improve over 2024 in order to move forward? And then what I'd suggest is that when and if you have a quieter time in the year, you kind of like maybe think about addressing those action points. So if you do have a quieter time, don't let it kind of pass that opportunity. Fix your boat. Use that time for it. That's what was quite helpful over COVID, actually, because it gave people the chance to actually really fix problems that weren't working. Good. And then I just want to, let me just check I haven't missed anything. Just want to finish really another analogy of kind of you getting to where you want to be is like a hiking trek. So some of you might be hiking up a mountain. Some of you, maybe it's a more pleasant stroll. It depends on the environment you're in. But obviously before you start, you want to think about what is the health of, are your boots in good condition? Have you got all the right equipment? Are you ready for the hike? And I do offer like a business MOT service that looks at the 4 pillars in real detail. And actually I give people a percentage in each one and tell them what they need to do. So if you do want anything like an MOT, just talk to me, that's fine. But so once you're ready, then think you're obviously going to start on your journey. But it's really important, and a lot of businesses don't do this, just take time out to smell the roses. And like, if you're having a good month, just stop and like have a look at the view. If you're climbing up a mountain, there's nothing worse like, I don't know, it's the same when I go swimming outside. I see people that are just like swimming, their heads down. I think like, just enjoy it. Like there's all this like scenery. So like if you're a business, you want to like, if you have a victory, celebrate it, get a cake. Kind of like enjoy those times where you are doing well, because I'm sure you'll probably spend a lot of time thinking about when it's not going well. So try and address, looking at the things that are going well as well. And it doesn't have to be perfect, but also be adaptable. So the environment may change, and it probably will, as Jeff was saying, next year, who knows what it's going to be like. It just seems to change so quickly, doesn't it, every day? But hopefully it's going to be a better year. I will just give a very quick anecdote there. On the 100 years ago, the Spanish flu hit, the pandemic. After the First World War, more people died in the pandemic than the First World War. But after that, we had the Roaring Twenties. But the Roaring Twenties didn't happen until the mid-20s. So I'll give you a bit of encouragement that if it is like a cycle of 100 years, that hopefully it's after a big event like a pandemic, it's always very volatile, and it takes time for things to settle down. And we are in a very unstable, it's different from 100 years ago, but hopefully that same sort of thing, you get the creative people, everything gets stirred up, the creative people create, and you end up with new systems. So it's actually the good side to having a pandemic is that everything gets renewed and you get new kinds of things. So back then you had new technology, planes, trains, automobiles, all happened after it. Cinemas, stadiums, all happened after it. So, do you know what I mean? So I think there's always a plus side to that, because I think it brings out the creativity of businesses and stuff. So hopefully that's encouraging. You can like take that. But then, it's important though, obviously, when you're on your own journey, everyone's got a different journey. So you mustn't kind of like, for some people, it might be you need to change your destination completely. And that's fine, doesn't matter. As long as you get to the destination, that's what's important. And you might need to change the manner you do it. And so don't feel like, everyone has got their own journey. So don't feel like bad if your journey has to sort of change slightly. You know, you might need to sort of get income from a different place, whatever. Things can change. Again, I've got this is where the coach may come in. So it could be, so David, you're a coach as well, aren't you? So it could be that I'm kind of thinking the mountaineering analogy. Maybe you need a Sherpa. Okay, you need a Sherpa to come along with you on the mountain to get to the top of the mountain. So that's where a coach comes in, though. So if I'm kind of, I just like to walk alongside people. I don't tell them what to do. I just kind of listen, and I kind of give advice, and I give suggestions. I give them good contacts, in which in many cases they make lots of money, and I see nothing of it. But it's all about sort of just walking alongside a person. It can be quite lonely, I think, in a business as well. And it's nice to have a friend. So I like quite often I feel like I'm like the counsellor as well as the mentor. Sometimes with married couples, that's even more. But it's good. It's you know, I think it's good to have someone to walk with and help you, also keep you accountable. They give you fresh ideas and hopefully connect you to the right people as well. So it makes your life easier. And then finally, just wanted to finish with one point. I think it's really good to, with all the companies I work with, who create plans, I try to kind of like focus them as well as like they're making the money. Let's think about how do we give something back? If you're doing well, then, you know, what can you do? Well, like, is there some charity that you could support? Every single one of them has a different idea. Do you know what I mean? So I've got one client, their product really would suit well with a charity. So next year they're going to get their team together to do charity events to put their products in a charity. I don't want to give too many specifics, but every kind of company is different. It could be that you want to like give your staff like one morning off a month to kind of work for a charity. There's so many ideas, do you know what I mean? That where if you are kind of, I think especially if you are growing financially, ways in which you can sort of help. And so it's not, so people don't have that, you know, I think gone are the days, and we're all the same, I think, or the 80s where greed was good in business. That's kind of gone out the window. I think we're all a lot more socially responsible now. So I think I'd like to sort of encourage that social responsibility target as well for a year. But that's about it, really. So yeah, so I'm gonna go and get a coffee. But no, if you've got any questions, then feel free to ask me after. My company's Business Mechanix. You can check the website, so businessmechanix.co.uk. Find me on LinkedIn and make friends, that's fine. I'm happy if you want to ask any questions over the internet or LinkedIn as well, not a problem. Yeah, there we go. So don't just create your year plan and just pin it up though. Got to look at it monthly, and you've got to get the action points done. So it could, just last point on that, it could be you divide your action points up through the year. So think, okay, January to March, I want to get that achieved. April to June, I want to do that bit. So I always do that with clients. I could tell when a client, if I'm overloading a client with too many action points, I will like have to back off and think, okay, let's put the staffing stuff till like September. Let's just get the sales sorted out now. So try not to focus on more than probably 3 things at a time, because otherwise you'll be juggling too much and you'll, you know, break a blood vessel. Right, that's it. Thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you very much indeed, Damien. That's really great. Really appreciate that. So, so whenever I listen to any of the presentations that are being given as part of the events that we run for West Kent and kind of across the country, so I try and take away 3 takeaways, and we were talking about takeaways, so it's kind of relevant there. And I think that things that really resonated with me. So the first one is about understanding the ideal client and being able to tailor the marketing to them. So many businesses will have more than one service, and generally that will have different clients, and it will have different marketing requirements. And it's actually it's pretty surprising the number of businesses that either can't explain who their target customer is, or they can't explain how they differentiate the marketing between one target customer and another. And I think that's a really important one. I think the second thing that I got out of that is one of the ways of growing is to increase price. And I was listening on the radio that there are a lot of brands out there that have used this big rapid process of inflation to increase their profit margins. And I think the thing is that if you look at different markets, and so my company works specifically in government. So if you have a very good social value offer, then you can still win contracts with a higher price, because contracts are awarded based on the quality of service, what social value you're winning, as well as price. So thinking about your overall offer and the value that you provide, I think is a really important one. And then finally, the final thing is, which I think is something that I actually think is a real challenge as a business owner, which is to celebrate your success and to actually celebrate successes. And that might be that you've won a big contract. You know, it might be that you've survived to the end of the week, and Friday is tomorrow. So I'm definitely on that survival route. But I think thinking about how you do that is an important one. So a big thank you to Damien. Have a chat with him if you're thinking about about getting a coach. About 2 years ago, I got challenged that I was running a business that was providing mentoring, and I didn't actually have a mentor, and I actually found a coach, and so the guy that's coached me has helped me with a lot of stuff. I see him every month, and we talk through issues, and it's just a way of being able to just talk about some specifics, specific challenges, how we grow the business, and kind of do a little bit of reflection, which when you're running a business and you're in the guts of the operation, can be a challenge. So a big thank you to all of those who joined online. We will put the video onto our socials. Make sure that you follow us on socials. You'll find out about any of the events that we're doing. You'll find out about any of the grant schemes and loans on the socials, and then we will look forward to seeing you at our next event, which is the 18th of January in Tonbridge, Wales, location TBC, and then most importantly the 14th of March at the River Centre in Tonbridge for the Expo, which is going to be a really big event. So really looking forward to that. So other than that, thank you very much indeed, and we'll look forward to, for those of you that are here, we'll look forward to having a drink and a chat. Good.